Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. Why don't you guys continue to pray for me to hit the windfall in some way, right? So earlier today, I asked you guys to pray that I find a rare coin and come up with some money that way. I went to get some coins, and I didn't go through all of them yet because I don't have any plans on doing the metal casting just yet. So, a little bit of background: I like to do metal casting with zinc, and I sometimes go to the bank to get a box of pennies, $25 face value. Now, most of your pennies are zinc, but a good fraction of them are copper from 82 and earlier. So, you got to separate them out. And while separating them out, I'll also look through the pennies to see if there's anything interesting. Usually a bunch of wheat pennies, sometimes a rare coin, and that's that. So I get to make art, and I sometimes find a rare coin, right? I have found a few rare coins, actually, believe it or not. I've made some side income from that as well, which is always nice because the art projects pretty much pay for everything. And then I get to put away a bunch of copper and sometimes find a rare coin on top of that. Right? I only melt the zinc ones. I normally don't work with the copper ones, but I keep the copper ones as an investment. Right. So art project investment and then a bunch of rare coins. Right. That's always a nice. That's it's like a three-legged stool. Right. That's always very nice. But I want you guys to pray that I hit a windfall somehow. And the reason for that is that I have a non existent social life, especially here in Apache Junction, but even in Phoenix. And the one time that I can sometimes interact with people is when I eat in the dining hall on campus. But I can't afford to do it every day, which really sucks because you cannot imagine how much joy I get, even if all I do is say hello to the cashier or talk to the cook because I have to anyway because I have food allergies, right? Or sometimes, aside from the dining hall at campus, so I sometimes one of the few restaurants that will work with me is Five Guys. Right now, I sometimes it doesn't go very well, but you know what? Whether it goes right or wrong, I get to talk to somebody. And just the other day, I was surprised that the cook remembered me and took precautions. I have food allergies, and so that was really nice. It gave me a nice warm fuzzy feeling, which I often don't get elsewhere. Unfortunately, I can scarcely afford it. And when you think about those 3 or 5 seconds worth of nice warm fuzzy feeling of the hello and all that, and how much I have to spend, oh my god, it's like hiring a lawyer or a doctor, right? Much more expensive if you calculate the rate, right? I want to be doing that more though because it brings me a lot of joy. And but as it is, I can scarcely afford it. Now, in the title of the video, I asked you to pray for nickel prices to go to hit the moon. And the reason for that is that I can't really work with nickel. I love my art projects. I obviously work with zinc, bismuth, tin usually, and sometimes I work when I feeling a little bit more daring. I do sometimes work with copper and silver. It has a much higher melting point. Obviously, I've only done it a few times. And it scares the crap out of me. I've gotten burned working with bismuth and zinc a few times. I don't want to. I don't want to push my luck with copper and silver. Bad experiences from burns. Fortunately, I've never gotten burned with those higher melting point metals, but it scares the crap out of me. I do want to practice a few more times copper and silver because eventually, I want to do one out of gold, right? I can't really afford that at the moment. And then I like to work with a few other metals as well. I hope to do indium in the near future. Indium's a little bit messier to work with, and also it's somewhat poisonous as well. So I've been a little bit scared about that. And aluminum, obviously. So I don't want any of those metals. But nickel going to the moon, I can live with that. I have a few 100 pounds of nickels. I used to go to a backgammon tournament in Canada, Vancouver, BC. In Canada, nickels made before 1981 were solid nickel. I have a funny story about that. I bought about $1,000 worth of Canadian nickels one time, and I took them home to Seattle to sort through them and pick out the solid nickel ones. But then I realized I have no plans to go back to Canada, so I bought a bunch of US coins and then I mixed them in there and I spent them together with the US coins, little by little. And so I scammed a bunch of people a few cents at a time using my Canadian nickels. Not that I really wanted to scam anybody, I just had no way to get rid of them. And so that was nice. Not only did I put away a bunch of nickel, but I scammed a bunch of local grocery stores in the process. But pray for that. I think this is my chance to feel like I'm connected to people, and I want to be eating in the dining hall 3 meals a day at some point. If I could afford it, I would do that in a heartbeat because those connections really mean a lot to me. Unfortunately, not only can it get expensive, but sometimes the portion sizes are ridiculously small too, right? And so that's why I haven't been doing that much. I almost don't think of it as buying food when I go to the dining hall. It's more of buying a connection with somebody, right? It's kind of weird. So pray that I get a chance to do that more. All right, tomorrow I wake up. I'm gonna first thing I'm gonna do is to check the price of all of the metals. Um, I hope nickel goes up to the moon. If tomorrow I wake up and I find bismuth goes to the moon, I'll have mixed feelings about that. I'll probably go to the dining hall, but I'll have mixed feelings about that. I don't think I would want that. But you know what? I'll live with it as well. Maybe that's what God's plan is for me. He wants me to take a break away from. Okay, all right. Say a prayer. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.